So before I start about speaking about culture and how it was affecting through speaking about like my life and how intersectionality has played a role in my life. First, just to define intersectionality is just basically like it comes together of one identity through one individual identity through gender, social class, race, sexual orientation, and just basically how one person's identity doesn't necessarily compare to others, because it's just there's so many different aspects that play into a person's life, individual's life, that really define them. And then in culture, I just feel like culture in general is just anything that gives you meaning of who you are. So anything that gives you meaning of who you are, I define as culture. So just throughout my life growing up, I didn't define myself naturally as being Latino. I just saw myself as a kid, very energetic. That can be part of my culture as well. But I'm very energetic. I grew up in South Bronx, so my school was namely minority students. But I didn't know that. It wasn't revealed to me, I guess, that I wasn't a minority school. I thought every school was like that. But the culture of my school was very. Speak about the culture of my school. The culture of my school was very frantic. It was very like how do you explain it? It was just very active, and I don't want to say it's fights all the time, and it was very. I feel like my generation was very mature for our age, and I don't want to say like unprofessional, but if comparing that to private school at later years, which I attended, I guess the private school would be the essential. Correct school working environment, if that makes sense. So just growing up, the school environment, the culture of the school I went in was one that really needed a lot of supervision, who I guess will be frowned upon, and how it was very much a struggle for us to learn, and for students to learn, and for teachers to teach, because I guess the culture of us was us students. I guess a lot of students lacked a lot of structure, a lot of rules, a lot of regulations, and that wasn't something that we growing up were kind of assigned to, I guess, to follow, depending on the culture. Me personally, my mom was very strict. So in terms of my culture was somebody who was supposed to do very well in school, who did not fight back and told the teacher what to do. So I grew up in very strict, a very strict culture, very academic based culture, with a very big focus on that. So that's kind of my culture growing up as I was younger. As I grew up, my self-conceptualization changed with correlation to power. I didn't know that being a minority there were disadvantages. I didn't understand that. And I could remember specific times, kind of mostly in middle school, where I'd have like maybe a Caucasian teacher, I guess a white professor, and I remember one time I'd get like a good grade on a test. She's like, "Wow, you surprised me." I'm like, and then but like she would give it to other students that I guess were minorities, and then it wouldn't be a big surprise. Like, it was always big shocking that I would do good, and I'm like, I'm kind of realizing like, okay, so it's especially for me to do good because I'm not expected to do good. So that's kind of how power kind of played a role and started revealing to me that I was kind of this minority, and so that kind of revealed to me, and just just learning through history, learning that I was a minority. So I guess through middle school, once I really started to get into history, I was like, I found out that I was put in this lower class immediately. And actually, that kind of what gave me, I guess, the culture of being somebody who was very competitive. I have a very competitive nature, and somebody who strives to defeat odds. So I guess that even helped me out anyway. But so that was kind of like my culture growing up, and then to kind of put intersectionality in it.